flames licking the sides of a school bus, thick black smoke choking the air, and terrified screams piercing the chaos. I'm trapped inside with a dozen kids, including my own twin daughters I haven't seen in years. My heart pounds like a war drum as I smash windows and haul them to safety, one by one. But when their millionaire mom, my ex-wife who destroyed my life, pulls up in her shiny Rolls-Royce, her face twists in shock. "Marry me," she whispers, eyes wide with desperation. "Stick around, because this revenge story is about to burn brighter than that fire ever did." If you've ever been kicked when you were down, betrayed by someone you loved, or just craved that sweet taste of justice against an ex who thought they were untouchable, smash that like button right now, hit subscribe, and turn on notifications. We're diving into a Reddit tale that's equal parts heart-wrenching and triumphant. Get comfy, because this one's gonna hit you right in the feels. Let me take you back to where it all started. My name's Alex, and 5 years ago, I was just an ordinary guy trying to hold it together. I worked as a mechanic in a small garage in suburban Chicago, grease under my nails, back aching from long hours. My wife, Elena, God, she was stunning, with that sharp jawline and eyes like polished emeralds. We'd been high school sweethearts. We had twin girls, Lily and Sophia, barely 3 years old at the time. They were my world. Tiny bundles of energy with matching pigtails and giggles that could melt the coldest day. But Elena, she came from money. Her family owned a chain of luxury car dealerships, the kind where a single sale could pay your rent for a year. Me? I was the poor kid from the wrong side of town who somehow won her over. At first, it was magic, stolen kisses in the rain, late night talks about our dreams. But as the twins grew, so did the cracks. Elena started resenting our modest life. "Alex, we deserve better," she'd snap, her voice dripping with frustration as she scrolled through Instagram feeds of yachts and private jets. I'd come home exhausted, and she'd be there in designer clothes her parents bought, complaining about our cramped apartment. The injustice hit like a freight train one rainy Tuesday. I remember the pit in my stomach when I walked in and found her packing suitcases, the twins playing obliviously on the floor with their stuffed animals. "What's going on?" I asked, my voice cracking, hands trembling as I set down my toolbox. She didn't even look up at first. "I'm leaving, Alex. I've met someone who can give us the life we deserve." Her words sliced through me like a hot knife. Turns out, someone was Victor, a slick venture capitalist twice my age, with a penthouse in downtown and a fleet of luxury cars. But it wasn't just leaving, it was how she twisted the knife. In court, she painted me as an unfit father, irresponsible, unstable, barely scraping by. Her family's lawyers buried me in paperwork and lies. I fought with everything I had, but money talks. She got full custody of the twins, and I was left with supervised visits twice a month, if I was lucky. The judge's gavel echoed in my ears like a death sentence. That night, alone in our empty apartment, I collapsed on the couch, the scent of Elena's perfume still lingering like a ghost. My chest tightened, breaths coming in shallow gasps. How could she do this? I thought, fists clenched until my knuckles turned white. I gave her everything, my heart, my sweat, my soul. Betrayal burned in my veins, hot and unrelenting. I felt powerless, like a pawn in her game of upgrading her life. Friends tried to console me. "Move on, Alex." But how do you move on when your kids are ripped away? I spiraled. I lost my job, drowned in cheap whiskey, staring at photos of Lily and Sophia until my eyes blurred with tears. Elena didn't stop there. She cut off contact, moved to a gated community, and paraded her new life on social media. I'd catch glimpses, the twins in frilly dresses at fancy parties, Victor's arm around her waist. It fueled a quiet rage inside me, simmering like coals under ash. I was the loser ex, the punchline to her success story. But something shifted that year. Rock bottom has a way of forging steel. I enrolled in community college, studied engineering at night while driving buses part-time to pay the bills. Single dad became my badge. I adopted a boy named Max from foster care, giving him the stability I craved for my girls. We scrapped by, but I built something real, a home filled with laughter, even if it was in a tiny rental. Fast forward 4 years. I'm behind the wheel of a school bus on a crisp autumn morning, the kind where leaves crunch under tires and the air smells like fresh rain. Max is with me up front. He's 8 now, all wide eyes and endless questions. The route takes us through upscale neighborhoods, picking up kids from Elena's world. I didn't know it then, but fate was about to deal its hand. As we hit the highway, a sharp jolt rocked the bus. Smoke billowed from the engine, acrid and thick, stinging my eyes. "Everyone stay calm," I shouted, my voice steady despite the panic clawing at my throat. Flames erupted, licking the undercarriage. Kids screamed, pounding on windows fogged with fear. Adrenaline surged through me like electricity. Not today, I thought, muscles tensing as I kicked open the emergency exit. Glass shattered, shards nicking my arms, but I barely felt it. One by one, I lifted kids out, coughing, wide-eyed, clinging to me like lifelines. Then I saw them, Lily and Sophia, huddled in the back, faces smeared with soot, tears carving clean paths down their cheeks. My heart stopped. My girls. They didn't recognize me at first. Elena had erased me from their lives. A bat instinct took over. I scooped them up, their small bodies trembling against mine, the heat from the flames searing my back. "I've got you," I whispered, voice hoarse from smoke. We tumbled out just as the bus exploded in a roar of fire and metal. Sirens wailed in the distance, paramedics swarming like bees. News crews arrived, cameras flashing. Hero bus driver saves 15 kids. The headlines would scream later, but in that moment, as I sat on the curb, oxygen mask strapped to my face, the twins clutched my hands. "Daddy," Lily murmured, her voice tiny and uncertain. It shattered me. That flicker of recognition, buried under years of absence. Then, tires screeched. A gleaming black Rolls-Royce Phantom pulled up, doors flying open. Elena stepped out, flawless in a tailored suit, diamonds glinting under the sun. Her face usually composed, superior crumpled as she spotted the twins. She rushed over, heels clicking sharply on the pavement. "Oh my God, my babies!" she cried, pulling them into a hug. But then her eyes met mine. Recognition hit like lightning. "Alex?" she gasped, hand flying to her mouth. Color drained from her cheeks, lips parting in shock. I stood slowly, bruises throbbing, smoke still clinging to my clothes. This is it, my mind raced. The moment she's forced to see me not as the worthless ex, but as the man who saved our daughters. The crowd murmured, phones recording every second. Elena straightened, composing herself, but her eyes darted nervously. "Alex. Thank you. Victor and I were done. He left me months ago. I've been thinking about us, about what we had." Her voice lowered, almost pleading. "Marry me again. We can be a family. You deserve this life now." The words hung in the air, laced with desperation. Internally, triumph surged, hot, satisfying, like finally exhaling after holding your breath too long. But I kept my face neutral, heart pounding. I stepped closer, close enough to see the fine lines of worry etching her flawless skin, the way her hands twisted her diamond ring. The twins looked up at me, eyes wide, waiting. "Marry you?" I echoed, voice low and steady. A small crowd had gathered, whispers rippling like waves. Elena's composure cracked. "Yes, think about it. The girls need their father. And you've proven yourself. We can start over." "I was wrong, Alex, please." I let the silence stretch, savoring it. Then, with a calm I didn't know I had, I shook my head. "No, Elena, you don't get to rewrite the story now. You took everything, my girls, my dignity, because I wasn't good enough. But look at me. I saved them, not with money or lawyers, but with my own hands." My voice rose, edged with years of pent-up fury. "You humiliated me, erased me from their lives. Now, I'm taking custody. The courts will see who the real parent is." Her face twisted, shock melting into anger, then raw humiliation as onlookers gasped. "You can't do this," she hissed, cheeks flushing red, eyes glistening with unshed tears. But she knew. The hero narrative was mine now. News crews captured it all. The rich ex-wife begging, the single dad standing tall. Relief washed over me like cool rain. validation flooding my chest. I wasn't powerless anymore. Justice tasted sweeter than I imagined. In the weeks that followed, the story went viral. Donations poured in for me and Max. Elena's perfect image shattered. Lawsuits flew, but evidence of her past lies surfaced. I got shared custody, then full. The twins moved in, their laughter filling my home. Elena, she faded into her empty mansion, alone with her regrets. Stories like this remind us, karma doesn't always come fast, but when it does, it's poetic. Sometimes, the best revenge is living well, and proving the doubters wrong. What do you think? Is justice always this satisfying, or does life owe us more? 5 years ago, my life shattered like cheap glass under a hammer. I was Alex, a hard-working mechanic in suburban Chicago, married to Elena, my high school sweetheart from the wealthy side of town. We had twin girls, Lily and Sophia, 3 years old, with infectious laughs and eyes that mirrored mine. Elena's family owned luxury car dealerships, and she grew up with silver spoons, but I thought love bridged the gap. I was wrong. She started resenting our modest apartment, my grease-stained hands, the way we pinched pennies. One rainy evening, I came home to find her packing, the twins playing unaware. "I'm leaving for someone who can give us real luxury," she said coldly, introducing Victor, a rich investor. In court, her lawyers demolished me, called me unfit, unstable. She took full custody, left me penniless after draining our accounts. I spiraled into despair, alone with echoes of their giggles. But rock bottom forged resolve. I went back to school, became a bus driver, adopted a boy named Max, and rebuilt quietly, simmering with betrayal's fire. The autumn morning started like any other, crisp air whistling through the cracked window of my school bus as I navigated the winding roads of upscale neighborhoods outside Chicago. Max, my adopted son, sat shotgun, his 8-year-old curiosity bubbling over with questions about everything from squirrels scampering across lawns to why the sky looked so endlessly blue. "Dad, do buses ever catch fire?" he asked innocently, munching on a granola bar, crumbs sprinkling his lap. I chuckled, ruffling his hair. "Nah, kiddo, these things are built like tanks." Famous last words, I suppose. Little did I know that question would haunt me, turning a routine route into a nightmare that would rewrite my entire existence. The bus was half full at about 15 kids in total, ranging from kindergartners with oversized backpacks to preteens glued to their phones. The upscale pickup points meant these were children of the elite, gated communities with manicured lawns, driveways lined with BMWs and Teslas. I kept my eyes on the road, the engine humming steadily as we merged onto the highway. That's when it hit a sharp, metallic clang from under the hood, like a wrench caught in the gears. Smoke started billowing, first in thin wisps, then thick, acrid clouds that stung my eyes and filled the cabin with a choking haze. "Everyone stay seated," I barked, my voice cutting through the initial murmurs of confusion. But panic spread like wildfire. Kids began coughing, some standing up in their seats, wide-eyed and clutching their bags. I pulled over to the shoulder, tires crunching gravel, but the smoke intensified. Flames flickered from the engine compartment. I could see them in the side mirror, orange tongues licking upward, hungry and relentless. My heart slammed against my ribs like a caged animal. Not now, not with these kids, I thought, adrenaline flooding my veins, sharpening every sense. The smell of burning rubber and oil was overwhelming, mixing with the faint scent of fierce sweat from the back. Screams erupted as the fire spread, crackling and popping like fireworks gone wrong. "Out the emergency exit now," I yelled, unbuckling and leaping to my feet. The front door was jammed, heat warping the metal, so I raced to the back, kicking at the hatch with all my strength. My boot connected once, twice, the third time, it burst open with a groan, fresh air rushing in like a lifeline. One by one, I started hauling kids out. A little boy first, no older than 6, his face streaked with tears, snot bubbling from his nose. I lifted him under the arms, his small frame trembling as I lowered him to the grass below. "Run to the trestle, go." Next, a girl with braids, clutching a stuffed unicorn, her eyes huge with terror. The flames were roaring now, heat blasting my face like an open oven, sweat pouring down my back, soaking my shirt. My arms burned from the effort, muscles straining, but I couldn't stop. Max was helping from the ground, his voice high-pitched but steady. "Come on, jump. Dad's got you." Pride swelled in my chest amid the chaos, so he was my rock, even at 8. Then, in the thick of it, as smoke clouded my throat and visibility dropped to near zero, I spotted them, huddled in the very back row, faces smeared with soot, coughing violently. Lily and Sophia, my twins, my girls, whom I hadn't seen in over 4 years, not since Elena's lawyers had barred me from their lives. They looked so much bigger now, 7 years old, with longer hair and the same dimples I'd kissed goodnight a lifetime ago. But they didn't recognize me. Why would they? Elena had erased me, fed them stories of a deadbeat dad, replaced me with Victor's wealth. Yet there they were, my blood, my everything, choking on fumes, flames inching closer. A primal surge hit me, mine to protect. "Girls, come here," I shouted, voice raw, pushing through the aisle cluttered with abandoned backpacks and water bottles. Lily reached out first, her hand small and clammy in mine. "It's okay, sweetie, I've got you," I murmured, pulling her close, her body rigid with fear. Sophia followed, burying her face in my shoulder, her sobs muffled against my smoke-drenched shirt. The heat was unbearable now, singeing my hair, blistering my skin. I hoisted them both a wand under each charma and leapt from the exit just as a whoosh of flame engulfed the interior. We hit the ground rolling, grass cool and damp against my scorched back. The bus exploded seconds later, a deafening boom that shook the earth, shards of metal raining down, black smoke billowing into the sky like a dark omen. Sirens wailed in the distance, growing louder, but in that moment, all I could do was hold my girls, their tiny hearts racing against mine, breaths coming in ragged gasps. Paramedics arrived in a flurry, oxygen masks pressed to faces, blankets draped over shivering shoulders. The kids were checked for injury. Miraculously, no one was seriously hurt, just smoke inhalation and minor cuts. News vans pulled up, reporters thrusting microphones, cameras flashing. Hero bus driver saves 15 children from fiery inferno. They'd blare later on every channel, but as I sat on the curb, and poured dripping fluids into my arm, Lily and Sophia clung to me, their fingers intertwined with mine. "Who are you?" Sophia whispered, her voice hoarse, eyes searching my face. I swallowed hard, tears mixing with soot. "I'm your dad, honey. I've missed you so much." Lily's brow furrowed, a spark of memory flickering. "Mommy said you went away." It broke me all over again. That innocent confusion, the years stolen from us. Then, amid the chaos, tires screeched to a halt. A sleek black Rolls-Royce Phantom glided up, gleaming under the sun like a predator in wait. The door flew open, and out stepped Elena, flawless as ever, in a tailored Chanel suit, diamonds sparkling at her throat and ears, hair pulled into a severe chignon. Her face, usually a mask of composed superiority, twisted in horror as she scanned the scene, spotting the smoldering wreckage. "My babies!" she cried, voice piercing, heels clicking frantically on the pavement as she rushed toward us. She scooped the twins into her arms, hugging them fiercely, but then her eyes locked on mine. Recognition dawned like a storm cloud, a shock, then disbelief, color draining from her cheeks. "Alex?" she gasped, hand flying to her mouth, body freezing mid-step. I stood slowly, every muscle aching, bruises blooming across my skin, the acrid taste of smoke still on my tongue. "This is it," my mind raced, a cocktail of triumph and rage bubbling up. The woman who destroyed me, forced to face the worthless ex who just saved her world. The crowd parted slightly, whispers rippling, a phones out, recording every 10th second. Elena composed herself, straightening her suit, but her eyes darted nervously, lips pressed into a thin line. "Alex, I can't believe it's you." "Thank you for saving them." Her voice wavered, uncharacteristically soft. She glanced at the twins, then back at me, something desperate creeping into her gaze. "Victor and I, we're over. He left months ago, took half the fortune in the divorce." "I've been reflecting, Alex, on us, on what we had before before everything." The words hung heavy, laced with the vulnerability I'd never seen in her. Internally, satisfaction surged, a hot, electric, like finally scratching an itch that had tormented me for years. But I kept my expression neutral, letting the moment stretch. Reflecting, I echoed, voice low, edged with steel. You mean regretting how you stole my daughters, painted me as a monster, left me with nothing but debts and heartbreak? The twins looked between us, confused, Lily's hand still in mine. Elena flinched, glancing at the onlookers, her perfect facade cracking. I was wrong, Alex. Stupid, ambitious in all the worst ways. But look at you now, a hero. The girls need their father. We could be a family again. Marry me, please. We can start over, with everything I have left. Her plea hit the air like a bombshell, raw and pleading, her eyes glistening with what might have been real tears. The reporters leaned in closer, murmurs growing. I stepped forward, close enough to smell her expensive perfume, jasmine, and regret, seeing the fine lines of stress around her eyes, the way her hands trembled slightly as she twisted her ring. Marry you? I repeated, letting disbelief color my tone. A small smile tugged at my lips, not kind, but victorious. The power shift was palpable for once. She was the one begging, exposed under the harsh light of public scrutiny. No, Elena, I said finally, voice steady, resonant. You don't get to snap your fingers and undo the damage. You humiliated me, erased me from their lives because I wasn't rich enough or good enough. But today, I proved who the real parent is, and not with lawyers or money, but with my bare hands, risking everything. My words gained momentum, years of pent-up fury spilling out. You took my girls, turned them against me, flaunted your new life while I clawed my way back from nothing. Now, the world sees you for what you are, a woman who values status over love. Gasps from the crowd, phones capturing her face as it contorted, shock melting into anger, then pure humiliation, cheeks flushing crimson, eyes darting as if seeking escape. You can't do this, she hissed, voice breaking, stepping back as if slapped. The courts they'll side with me. I have resources. But her bluff rang hollow. The hero narrative was mine. Viral footage already spreading. Relief crashed over me like a wave, cool and cleansing, a validation I'd craved, triumph tasting like sweet nectar after bitter poison. I wasn't a broken man anymore, I was unbreakable. In the whirlwind that followed, everything changed. The story exploded on linear headlines screaming hero dad saves twins from ex-wife's neglect. Donations flooded in, funds for a new home, scholarships for Max, even job offers from engineering firms impressed by my night school degree. Elena's empire crumbled under the spotlight. Old lies from our divorce resurfaced. Her social circle turned. Victor's abandonment leaving her isolated in that echoing mansion. I petitioned for custody immediately, armed with affidavits from witnesses, psychological evils proving my stability. The judge, moved by the bus footage, granted shared at first, then full when Elena's erratic behavior or harassing calls, public meltdowns sealed her fate. Lily and Sophia moved in that winter, their room painted pink and blue, filled with toys and books. At first, they were shy, asking about Mommy's big car, but slowly, bonds reformed. Bedtime stories became our ritual, their heads on my shoulders, giggles echoing like music I'd forgotten. Max adored his new sisters, teaching them video games, the house alive with chaos and joy. Elena visited sporadically, her roles replaced by a modest sedan, her pleas turning to bitter silence. She begged once more in private, tears streaming. I need you, Alex, forgive me. But forgiveness wasn't mine to give lightly. Justice had its price. 7 years ago, my world collapsed in a single conversation. I was Jake, a 28-year-old electrician in a small Ohio town, married to Vanessa, a woman whose charm and ambition outshone the sun. We had twin daughters, Ava and Emma, barely 4, with curly pigtails and laughter that could light up the darkest nights. Vanessa came from a wealthy family, her parents owning a chain of upscale restaurants. I was the working-class guy who won her heart with late-night talks and promises of a simple, honest life. But she grew restless, her eyes lingering on her old life of glitzy designer bags, charity galas, private chefs. One evening, I found her in our cramped living room, packing bags, her face cold as marble. I am done, Jake, you're holding me back. You're broken bar worthless, she spat, her words slicing deeper than any knife. She'd met Derek, a real estate mogul with a mansion and a yacht. In court, her family's lawyers crushed me, called me unstable, a nobody. She took custody of the twins, drained our savings, and left me with nothing but a rented trailer and a broken heart. I drowned in whiskey and rage, but hitting bottom lit a fire. I enrolled in community college, studied fire science, and became a volunteer firefighter, clawing my way back while Vanessa's social media flaunted her new life. My girls in frilly dresses at Derek's estate. The morning it all changed, I was on shift at the fire station, polishing the engine, the scent of wax and diesel grounding me. It was a chilly October day, leaves swirling like embers across the lot. My partner, Mike, was cracking jokes about last night's football game when the alarm blared a sharp, urgent, a school bus fire on Route 17. My stomach lurched. That was the route through the rich suburbs, where Ava and Emma lived. "Let's roll," the captain shouted, and we piled into the truck, sirens screaming, my heart pounding like a jackhammer. I hadn't seen my girls in years, so Vanessa had blocked all contact, her lawyers citing my dangerous job as an excuse. The thought of them on that bus, in danger, sent ice through my veins. We arrived to chaos, a yellow school bus engulfed in flames, black smoke curling into the sky like a vengeful spirit. Kids were screaming, some already on the roadside, coughing, wrapped in blankets by bystanders. The heat hit like a wall, singeing my face through the visor. "Jake, you're on extraction," Mike yelled, as we hooked up hoses. I didn't hesitate, charging toward the bus, axe in hand. The door was jammed, flames licking the frame. I smashed the window, glass shattering like my past, and climbed inside, smoke stinging my eyes, choking my lungs. "Anyone here?" I shouted, voice muffled by my mask. Then I saw Ava and Emma, huddled in the back, faces smudged with ash, eyes wide with terror. My girls, now 8, didn't know me, but instinct took over. I scooped them up, their small bodies trembling, and fought through the heat, passing them to Mike outside just as the roof groaned, collapsing in a shower of sparks. We got every kid out, as 16 in total, before the bus became a fireball. I collapsed on the grass, oxygen mask on, Ava's tiny hand still gripping mine. "You're safe," I whispered, voice raw, tears mixing with sweat. The scene was a blur of sirens, flashing cameras, and paramedics. News crews swarmed, calling me a hero, but all I saw were my daughters, shivering under blankets, looking at me with confusion. "Who are you?" Emma mumbled, her voice small. My chest tightened. Vanessa had erased me from their lives. Before I could answer, a silver Bentley screeched to a halt. Vanessa stepped out, flawless in a fur-trimmed coat, her face pale as she spotted the twins. "My babies!" she cried, rushing over, but her eyes locked on me, recognition hitting like a slap. "Jake!" she gasped, stumbling in her heels. The crowd hushed, sensing drama. "You a broken bar, you saved them," her voice cracked, and for the first time, I saw fear in her eyes. "Not of the fire, but of me, the man she discarded." I stood, suit stained, muscles aching, staring down the woman who'd shattered my life. "Yeah, Vanessa, I saved them, not you, not Dirkami." Her lips parted, but no words came. The air crackled with tension, phones recording, reporters leaning in. She fumbled, "Jake, a broken bar. Derek left me. I've been lost without you. We could be a family again. Marry me please." Her plea was desperate, a crack in her perfect facade. Triumph surged through me, sharp and sweet. I shook my head, voice steady. "You don't get to rewrite history. You called me worthless, took my girls. Today, I proved who I am." Her face crumpled, humiliation blooming as the crowd murmured. I walked away, holding Ava and Emma's hands, ready to fight for them again, this time, with the world watching. The aftermath was a whirlwind, but it was only the beginning of turning the tables. The news story exploded. Headlines screamed, "Hero firefighter saves twins from ex-wife's neglect." My face was everywhere, grainy footage of me pulling kids from the burning bus looping on every channel, shared across social media platforms like wildfire. The local station ran an interview where I kept it simple. I did my job. Those kids are my world. But the internet did what it does best. It dug. Old court documents surfaced, exposing Vanessa's lies about my fitness as a father. Reddit threads dissected her lavish lifestyle, her absence during the crisis, her quick attempt to reclaim me when the spotlight shifted. The narrative flipped. I was the underdog hero, and she was the villain who'd underestimated me. Back at the station, the guys slapped my back, calling me a legend, but my focus was razor sharp. Ava and Emma. I hadn't seen them in years, and now, holding their hands as paramedics checked them, I felt a fierce resolve. Their eyes, so like mine, held questions. So why hadn't I been there? Vanessa's poison had worked well, but I'd changed that. I contacted a lawyer that same day, a pro bono advocate moved by my story. "You've got a case, Jake," she said, flipping through the viral articles. "The courts won't ignore this." I filed for custody immediately, armed with public support and evidence of Vanessa's neglect, as she hadn't even known the twins were on that bus, too busy at some charity gala to check their schedules. Vanessa didn't go quietly. She hired a new legal team, her family's money still a weapon. But the tide was turning. Her public image was in tatters. The Bentley, the fur coats, the curated Instagram life now looked hollow against footage of me, suit covered, carrying her daughters to safety. At the first hearing, she showed up polished but shaken, her lawyer arguing she was a devoted mother blindsided by the incident. I sat across the courtroom, heart pounding, hands clenching the chair arms until my knuckles whitened. My lawyer presented the evidence. Years of blocked visitation, her lies about my stability, and affidavits from teachers noting the twins' sadness, their questions about where daddy went. The judge, a stern woman with gray streaks in her hair, watched the bus footage in silence, her expression unreadable. "Mr. Carter," she said, "your actions speak volumes." Between hearings, I started rebuilding with Ava and Emma. Supervised visits, at first, in a community center with peeling paint and fluorescent lights. They were shy, clutching stuffed animals Vanessa had bought, but I brought coloring books and told stories about my firefighting calls, minus the scary parts. "Did you really run into fire for us?" Ava asked once, her pencil pausing on a half-colored unicorn. I nodded, throat tight. "I'd run through anything for you too." Slowly, they warmed up. Emma giggled when I tickled her. Ava showed me her drawings. Each smile was a brick in the bridge I was rebuilding, but Vanessa's shadow loomed. She'd call, demanding updates, her voice sharp. "Don't fill their heads with nonsense, Jake." I bit my tongue, knowing every word was ammunition. The public kept the pressure on. A GoFundMe started by a local mom raised $50,000 for the hero dad, enough for a deposit on a small house with a backyard for the girls. Strangers sent letters, some sharing their own stories of custody battles or betrayal. One night, scrolling X, I saw a post. Vanessa's trying to spin things. Posted a sob story about a regret. Too little, too late. Attached was a screenshot of her tearful Instagram video, claiming she'd lost her way but loved her girls. The comments were brutal. "Where were you when the bus burned? Jake's the real parent." I didn't travel in her downfall, but the justice felt right, like a weight lifting from my chest. The second hearing was pivotal. My lawyer called witnesses, the bus driver, who testified Vanessa never checked the twins' schedules, a social worker, who noted their emotional distance from her, even Mike, who described my split-second courage. Vanessa took the stand, her voice trembling, playing the victim. "I made mistakes, but I'm their mother. Jake's just riding this hero wave." My blood boiled, but I stayed calm, remembering my lawyer's advice, let her dig her own grave. The judge wasn't swayed. She granted me shared custody, pending a final review. Vanessa's face fell, her hands twisting a silk scarf, eyes darting to the reporters in the back. I exhaled, relief flooding like cool water over burned skin. Life with the twins began to take shape. They spent weekends with me in the new house, a cozy two-bedroom with creaky floors and a swing set I built myself. We baked lumpy cookies, watched Pixar movies, their laughter filling spaces I'd thought would stay empty forever. But Vanessa wasn't done. One night, she showed up unannounced, her Bentley replaced by a rented Audi, her face haggard. "Jake, I was wrong," she said, voice low, standing on my porch as rain drizzled. "I see it now, you're their hero. Let's try again, for them." Her eyes searched mine, desperate for a lifeline. I remembered her words, a worthless say and the years of pain. "No, Vanessa," I said, voice steady. "You don't get to pick me up now that I'm made valuable. I'm fighting for my girls, not you." I closed the door, her silhouette fading in the rain, the ghost of her former arrogance. The final hearing came 6 months later. By then, Vanessa's life was unraveling, her family's restaurants hit by scandals, her social circle shrinking. She'd stopped fighting, her lawyer admitting she'd missed visitation sessions. The judge awarded me full custody, citing my stability and extraordinary commitment. Ava and Emma moved in permanently, their room a riot of color with posters and fairy lights. They started calling me Dad without prompting, their hugs erasing years of ache. Vanessa faded, moving to a smaller condo, her calls to the girls growing sporadic. I didn't hate Kira, I pitied her, a woman who'd traded love for status and lost both. I kept firefighting, promoted to captain, training recruits with stories of that day. The twins thrived, Ava joined soccer, Emma loved art. We built a family, messy and real, with Mike and his kids over for barbecues, the backyard alive with laughter. One evening, as we roasted marshmallows, Emma looked up, her face glowing in the firelight. "You're not worthless, Dad. You're our hero." My heart swelled, the sting of Vanessa's words finally gone. I'd turned the tables, not with vengeance, but with love and grit. Life had tested me in flames, and I'd emerged stronger, my girls by my side, the past just ash in the wind.